Category 2 covers the upstream cradle-to-gate emissions from capital goods you buy or build in the reporting year. Things like buildings, large machines, or vehicles. Think of this as the embodied carbon of big purchases. This is the one-time footprint incurred to make or build them. So how do you go about calculating these emissions? How you calculate category 2 looks a lot like category 1, which is purchased goods and services. I've talked about that in my previous video, which I'll link in the comments. The key difference is classification. So who decides what's capital goods versus products and services? Your finance team does. This is already in your accounting policy. If finance capitalizes it, or it's part of capital expenditure or CapEx, it's category 2. If it's expense, or in other words, part of operational expenditure or OpEx, it's category 1. So as you can see, it's important to get finance involved early and sync the classification. However, there is one key difference. Finance spreads the value of the capital assets over time in what's known as depreciation. Emissions accounting doesn't. For category 2, you count the full cradle-to-gate emissions in the year you acquire the asset. Do note, you do not include its energy use here. That goes into scope 1 or 2, not category 2. I also want to highlight another point here. Newly developed sites or new capital builds belong in category 2. The materials and built-in footprint of that project are counted in this year. But if you buy a used facility or a second-hand equipment, the original embodied carbon was accounted for when it was first made and purchased. You do not recount that in category 2. However, if you refurbish or fit out that used site and capitalize that work, the new capital work will go into category 2. So how do you begin to calculate these emissions? Here are a few steps that could help. 1. Pull out the CapEx list from finance and group them by asset type. Make sure you confirm your capitalization threshold with finance so that your classification of category 2 versus category 1 is clear from the get-go. 2. Pick out the top assets of projects and try to get spreadsheets or materials and quantities. The internal owners of these assets or your procurement team should have this available with them. 3. You can also go about asking manufacturers or contractors for a product carbon footprint or an environmental product declaration for the exact model or materials. If they can't provide it, you can use spend-based factors. This is similar to how you would go about measuring category 1 emissions. In the end, category 2 emissions is not about perfection. It's about a clean split with category 1, counting embodied carbon once and getting finance and procurement in the loop early. Do that, and your capital purchases start balancing cost, performance, and carbon by default. Thank you for your time here. This is part of a series of short videos I plan to put out. Let me know if you find these useful and what you think needs to be added in the comments.